Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'll be doing my August plan with me in today's video. And my theme for August is camping because I just love going camping in the summertime. It's one of my favorite activities and there's nothing I like more than going out in nature, having no cell signal, and just spending the entire day outdoors reading or bullet journaling, meditating, hiking, and just basically doing anything in nature, whether it's having a meal or resting or going for a walk. It just seems to be better when you're out in the fresh air and you're surrounded by trees and clouds and birds and everything. So that was my inspiration for the theme. And I did draw a little bit more inspiration when I went looking for pictures from summer camps as well, just for my cover page, because the border there, the entryway, it's like a summer camp. It's inspired by a picture I saw from the movie Moonrise Kingdom where they had Camp Ivanhoe, and I thought that would be a really cool feature. So I put that there along with a little scene of a campsite with a tent, some trees in the background, a campfire, and a lantern. For this entire spread, I mostly used my Crayola Super Tips markers, which I just got last month for my birthday. And the exception to that was a red Tombow marker that I used for the lantern here because I felt like the red Super Tip was not that bright and I wanted a very bright and vibrant red, and I used it on some of the fire, the compasses later on, and also the lantern. The second page in any spread is my main calendar, and here I went again with the same outline that I used last month that was inspired by Bujo and Cookies on Instagram, and I made the header for the month to resemble a sign that you might see for like a national park where they have that two-tone wood sometimes where it has the name of the park. And I also put welcome on there because we're kind of welcoming the month of August, but you might also see that like welcome to Yosemite or welcome to, I don't know, any other park. They're all different. And then around the border, I wanted to do a lot of doodles related to camping. So I added some around there. I added binoculars, a compass, a map, a mug, a campfire, and a couple other things like this knife and this marshmallow on a stick, which I hope you can tell that it's a marshmallow because I ended up showing this to my husband. He's like, why is that roll of toilet paper on that stick? I'm like, it's a marshmallow. But I don't know, maybe I didn't draw it quite perfectly. And right here, I wasn't sure what to put on my map, so I actually, when you see the flip through, you'll see what I ended up adding. I've been using the Staedtler pigment liner for a long time. I actually bought a box of several, and it's been one of my favorite pens. I love the way it writes and stuff, but it is really smudgy. If I touch it or if I try and erase the pencil that I do to sketch things out underneath without letting it dry for a long time, it smudges so badly. So a lot of these spreads I also left the pencil line there and decided to come back and erase it later because I was tired of getting a lot of smudging. So again, you'll just have to wait and see everything in the flip through because this spread took a long time. I would come back to it, I would start, I would stop. Some parts I did off screen. So it was just a mishmash because this is one of my most in-depth spreads I've ever done. And it was a lot of fun to create even though it was very time consuming. The next spread I'm skipping to is my goals and skating page. And I skipped over my habit tracker because at the time of filming this, which was maybe mid-July, I didn't know which habits I wanted to put down into my bullet journal. So I skipped that and decided to think about it and work on that later. So here you'll see me just doing my goals with the usual header and 5 goals. And again, I didn't know what those were, so it's not filled in this video. And then I split the page and kept a spot for the tasks that I want to do the majority of the month and added some decorations in there. I also wrote really simple headers in green, but I ended up going in and going over those to darken them and then outlining them in black and adding a drop shadow, so you'll see that in the final flip through just to make it look a little more finished and polished. So the primary 2 colors for this spread are brown and green, which to me represents the outdoors and nature and primarily trees, with like pine trees having green needles or any other tree with green leaves, and then brown for the trunk. So it reminds me of the forest and camping, and I don't know, I feel like camping without trees just isn't camping. I just love being close to trees, and they provide shade and the sound of the wind moving through them, and they're just so beautiful. So those are my primary colors, but I also used a lot of red and orange and some blue as well for different components. Next is a spread for tracking my skating, and I completely revamped this month because last month I did the calendar that I usually do, but it took up a huge part of the page. And I also only skate during the week now because we don't have ice sessions on the weekend usually, or I'm camping on the weekend. So I thought, why put an entire month? I actually was going to originally do like a vertical calendar with 31 days, but again, I thought, why include the weekends when I don't skate during the weekend? So I just did the days of the week and separated it out by week. And then across the top, I can track my lessons, practice times, ice times, how much I'm spending, how much ice costs, and any other miscellaneous things that come up. Then I wanted to put in some brown color to break up the page and also divide the weeks. So I used this washi tape trick to tape off the lines so they would be a lot smoother. And surprisingly, when I went to peel it off for some of the lines, it actually ripped the paper, which I don't know what happened. Maybe I pressed it down too hard, but usually washi tape is not that sticky, and I've never had that happen. So it kind of destroyed the paper a little bit on this spread, but it's not too noticeable, and I can still definitely use the spread, but that was really surprising that that happened. I also left the bottom of the skating tracker blank. I knew I wanted to put some doodles in there, but I didn't know which ones. So I figured I would go and look at all the different art that I'd collected and decide what I wanted to draw and what would fit there. So again, this video is kind of just showing a work in progress of how I ended up doing it, and it was a lot of back and forth, but like I said, you'll see the final product in the flip through at the end. On this page, I'm using another spread that is very widely used, which is my activity and off-ice tracker. And I wanted to do something similar like the signs with the brown wood, just because this page has a lot of information on it and it didn't have room to do like doodles and stuff. So I thought I would just outline the boxes to break up the page and do them like these signs. But this is actually one of my least favorite pages in my journal. Just it doesn't really go with my theme. It's not cohesive. It's all brown. There's no doodles. So I don't know. It didn't really turn out how I mean, it turned out how I envisioned, but I didn't really like it afterwards. So it's kind of unfortunate because it is going to be one of my most used spreads. But once it's all filled in, and I think I'm going to use green to fill in the boxes, then hopefully it'll look really nice. But you know, those things happen, and I still need this page, so I didn't end up redoing it or anything like that. And maybe if I had made the headers white, it would have looked a bit differently. Maybe I shouldn't have used that darker brown. But I did really like that the super tips did not bleed through. I was able to go over different colors with another color, and it didn't smudge or smear the color, so I really liked these markers for that. This next spread, it was my healthy eating tracker, and it was one of the most fun to create. I just put the basic calendar in there and added a lot of camping food related doodles, which was really fun to do, even though I don't really cook on a campfire or have like a cook stove. We usually bring like prepared foods that just need either heated up or can be eaten cold or at room temperature. But it was still fun to draw these kind of cozy looking doodles. So here you'll see me drawing in a little pot cooking over a campfire, some marshmallows and a hot dog on a stick, a thermos, a little grill, can of beans, a teapot, a plate with some utensils, and a frying pan. And I didn't know what to put in the frying pan. I saw a lot of pictures online with eggs and bacon, but I don't eat either of those things, so I was like, what should I put in it? So I ended up just putting a piece of bread in it, so I guess you could just make toast or maybe French toast or something in it. But again, I don't really cook when I go camping on my campfire. Don't always even have a campfire. But still, it was fun to draw these, and I left them without any color here in this video because I outlined them in pencil, and like I said, I didn't want to go in and erase the pencil just yet to do the color, so I decided to let the ink dry first. Here is my step tracker, which I actually did for the first time a whole page in my July spread. You might see me referring back to it to know like what the spacing is and things like that. And if you saw my July plan with me, you didn't see the spread because I ended up putting it between 2 weekly spreads. It was something I added after the fact, but you can see some pictures of it on my Instagram account. And it was just something fun. I just wanted to have another tracker. It was fun to fill in. I do track my steps just on my Fitbit, and then I also have a 10K steps habit on my habit tracker to know how many days in the month I'm getting 10K steps. But I just liked seeing it filled in and how many steps I got, because some days I would go hiking and I would get like upwards of almost 19,000 steps, and other days it was like 2,000 steps. So it just goes to show, like, you know, every day is different and it varies. And it was fun to put some hiking related doodles in there because usually we always go hiking when we're going camping. So I put some hiking boots, some like boot footprints, and a hiking pole there. On the opposite page, I did an intermittent fasting tracker, and this is identical to what I added in July along with the step tracker. And these take up a lot of the page, so I just did a couple doodles at the top. And I do track my intermittent fasting with an app called Zero. And I used to keep a little tracker on my healthy eating calendar page where I would track how many days I did intermittent fasting for a certain number of hours. But I liked tracking it on the page and filling it in, which is so fun and satisfying. So I thought, why not just keep it in my journal? And I put some mountains there because mountains to me means camping. I love camping in the mountains and having mountain views. And then I just put a moon because fasting usually happens overnight or with like, you know, time, and you can track time by like the moon and the sun. So I thought it was fitting, and I didn't know what else to put there. I didn't want to put food there because I had all that on my healthy eating page. So that's what I ended up doing for this super simple tracker. So in this clip, you'll see me going back to what was going to be my habit tracker originally, and I had filled in 3 sections with a variety of things I wanted to track, but I decided that I wasn't going to call it a habit tracker and that I wasn't going to break it up by week and do every single day. I did include 31 spaces because there are lots of things that I actually do every day, so I wanted enough space to track that if I end up doing it every single day. But I've been using this type of tracker for my activity, and it just, for some reason, really worked for me because I didn't feel the pressure that I had to do everything every day. And I noticed lately when I was opening my habit tracker page, if I saw certain boxes were empty on that day, I felt like all this pressure, like, oh no, I didn't do something, I didn't succeed this day, I'm not doing enough. And I just realized, you know, the entire month can't be the same. You can't do every habit every day. And life ebbs and flows. You know, sometimes you need a rest period, or you're not feeling well, or you know, you can't do every single thing, and that's okay. And I know it's probably more my mindset about it that needs change, not necessarily changing the habit tracker, but I thought maybe this month I would just try it and track it, because even though these are both trackers, for some reason my mind just sees that day and thinks like I have to do all this stuff every day, whereas this type of tracker, my mind is calm and it's just like, okay, just record what you do. And it also does motivate me to want to do it more. So that's why I ended up doing it this way, and I ended up not calling it a habit tracker. I called it a daily activity log, which is completely accurate. It just logs what you do every day. And I also thought it kind of went with the camping thing because you might, you know, camp for a long time and like having a log or a journal of what you did, where you went, what animals and plants you saw, stuff like that. So I thought it went with the theme pretty nicely. That's all for the portions I filmed, so I'll get right into the flip through because this is a really long spread and there are a lot of spreads you'll see here that I didn't film because I didn't want to draw them on camera or this video would have been super long. And one thing I realized with this month is that previously I had been trying to really cram an entire year, actually more than a year, into this journal, and I wasn't doing as many spreads as I wanted to. I wasn't taking up as much space in my journal, and so that's one of the reasons this spread is extra long, is because I finally decided I'm just gonna use my journal how I want to use it. I'm not gonna try and cram August and September both into this journal. I'll just finish it out with August. And we're also moving soon, so I needed space for that. I'm also going to be starting a new journal soon, so I wanted a page to plan for that. So I really wanted to use up my journal, have fun with it, and feel like I could spread out and make the most of it. So if you want to see more pictures, you can check my Instagram. I'll be posting all these spreads with the quotes and other things that I did. But I hope that you enjoyed this video and got some ideas for your own journal. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.